this is a movie called Fingernails. Fingernails is it's described as a drama slash sci-fi. It's directed by a filmmaker named Christos Nico. And this film is the story. I would describe it as, it sort of starts as a romance. Jessie Buckley plays a woman named Anna. She is happily married to her husband, Ryan, played by Jeremy Allen White. They're a couple in love, but I sense that there's trouble. She lies to her husband about things that aren't really all that important. And it is a little bit suspicious. They're in love. They go to a dinner party with other couples, and everyone is taking this test to find out if you're 100% compatible and in love. What it involves is ripping a fingernail from the finger of, and you can choose which finger. You rip the fingernail, you take the two fingernails from the couple, you put it in a thing that looks like a microwave, and then determine whether neither person is in love with the other, whether it's a 50% ranking, meaning one person is in love with someone else, but it's not reciprocated, or are you a 100%, meaning both people as a couple love the other one, and it reaches 50 or 100% total. The way that this is done is very low tech, because it literally looks like this movie took place in some sort of timeless era. They use like phones that have cords on them. There aren't cordless phones. It's kind of low tech, and it reminded me a little bit of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, except the humor here is understated. I didn't find this film particularly funny. First of all, I love Jessie Buckley in this. She ends up getting a job at the institute where they conduct this test.
The Love Institute.
The Love Institute, to find out, are you really in love? And the whole thing is, the person who's the head of the institute, played by Luke Wilson, he plays a character named Duncan. He's the head of this institute. He invented this, and basically he's divorced and he wants to end divorce. You should know if you're in love 100%. So he's a scientist trying to deconstruct love. Well, as it turns out, Jessie Buckley's character, Anna, gets a job at the institute, which she lies to her husband about, eventually confesses this, and she works with a partner. So they work with a couple, and they conduct, the couple who works at the Love Institute conduct these tests. And in these tests, they want to see, like, are you in love? So one of the things they do is people take their clothes off down to their underwear, and someone is blindfolded.
It was like love training. That's
like love training. So they go around and try to find their partner based on smell. They do these tests in a pool, right? They do all these sort of weird in public tests. One of the tests they want to do is have a couple go out in public to see a movie and then start a fire in the movie theater to see how the couple will react. Will they try to save each other? Will they be selfish and save themselves? So they're conducting these love tests that test the couple leading up to the final test, which is the fingernails, to see, are they both 100% in love? Well, of course, Anna, Jessie Buckley's character, kind of starts to fall for her work partner, played by Riz Ahmed. He plays this character named Amir. They're doing all these tests together, spending a lot of time together. You've heard that term, my work husband, my work wife. There are a lot of people that kind of like couple up, or they're like attracted to each other in a platonic way. I've had this experience where you have like someone you work with where you just get along. You have like similar values. You go out to lunch together and you're platonic friends, legit platonic friends. And they become that, except Anna maybe has a little bit more feelings for Amir than Amir does. I don't want to go into the specifics of what happened at the end, but I'll just say, based on the tone, based on the sort of slow pace of this film, based on the sort of like, a lot of the men in the movie just didn't really act like, they just I don't know. They were just sort of a fantasy version of how women would like men to act, not how they kind of really are. It was I felt like a lot of the men in this film felt a little emasculated to me. If you're going to a love institute to have your fingernails pulled off to decide to determine if you're actually in love, maybe that says something. But it's interesting because you see people redoing the test. They want to make sure they're still in love. And then the movie starts out where people have all these like band-aids on their fingers. And you're like, why do people have all these band-aids on their fingers? Because everybody's doing this test. Honestly, I can't recommend the movie. I felt like it didn't go the deeper layers I wanted it to go. I really didn't like Jessie Buckley's character, and I love her. She was in Men last year, which I thought was weird and also but worth seeing. I would recommend Men in spite of the fact that it's so freaking weird.
I wouldn't recommend Men at all.
Well, there you go. But
I love Jessie Buckley. Yeah.
I love Jessie Buckley. Anna's character, she lies to her husband and is deceptive. And that just made me not like her. Right. Like, and that was fine, I guess. Like, you know, she's a flawed female character, which is fine. But I felt like the movie that is the better version of this movie has already been made. And it's called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where you erase, you know, you have a bad relationship, you want to just get it out of your head and you erase it from your head. And then suddenly this couple actually still comes back together, even though they both had their minds erased, right? I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's a movie I'll watch maybe every 5 years, maybe every couple years. But I think I think that's just a better exploration of relationships. And I was hoping this film would have gone the deeper layers. See, it's sort of like it doesn't go the deeper layers for me. The science fiction angle is just a hook. It's not particularly sci-fi. It's no more or less sci-fi than Pod Generation, although I'd say Pod Generation did a much better job. And yeah. I just, at the end, I felt like this movie was almost like advocating polyamory in a way. This was sort of like, that's what it felt like. Yeah. I don't want to go into why I came to this determination. Yeah. Alan, you've seen Fingernails.
I saw it. Yeah, we were there together. Yeah, I'll say I like the movie better than you did.
Yes,
I do think it went into the deeper levels, which is why I liked it. I do walk away kind of like, but would I see this again? You know, my daughter was there with me. I literally she was forced to see this movie with me because of traveling and scheduling issues. Like I couldn't drop her off at home after a certain thing, so she went. And I wasn't sure what she was gonna think, and she gave it a 9 out of 10. She loved this movie. I wouldn't go that far, and I don't think I'd go as far as you did, because I like a movie that makes you think, and I think this movie has ideas that it presents that makes you wonder about its things. You say love test. It's actually love training. They go through these training sessions to increase the odds that you'll get that 100%. And then this movie will evoke emotions because there are a few scenes where they actually rip out the fingernails, and you hear the entire audience is just groaning.
Right.
Like, I can't believe this is happening, and then it happens. And then it happens again and again, and then from then on, anytime there's an implied fingernail being ripped out, you feel it in your body and your soul. And I think the thing that stuck out to me the most about this was this idea that, and you brought it up in what you said, but the fact that you have to take a test like this, that anyone who's read Cosmo, there are tests all the time about whether you're compatible with your mate, things like that. And this takes it to that extreme, saying that, here's that surefire test that's going to tell you whether you are compatible. And the cost is a second of intense pain. And I think even the filmmaker brought up was the fact of, why are we taking tests like this? What is the nature of compatibility, of why you choose who you choose, and do we sum it down to a test? And I think that's the whole point of this movie is, even if you had the surefire test, is the test right? And I there's that exploration there that I kind of found fascinating. I wouldn't say this is the greatest movie ever made. I would Pod Generation make that, and The Land of Invisible Hand is much better than this. And so yeah, I would give it a mild recommendation. There's just enough interesting to go on, and believe me, you're gonna feel things, feel horrible things
Well, I
when
mean,
you're watching this movie,
I mean,
and that's a testament to filmmaking as well.
this movie also kind of speaks aloud. It's one of
Mhm.
the themes. I mean, in one of the lines of the movie is, "This is going to hurt." Like, yes, being in love hurts.
Yeah,
There a certain amount of pain accompanies a relationship, positive or negative. Pain is part of the process. So,
yeah, and I
um,
think that's the film's point is what does it mean to be in love? Is compatibility really one of the true measures of love?
right,
And and then and just the fact that people would be willing to go through this to make sure that they're not going to divorce, is is an interesting thought to mull over in your head while watching this.
right. Well, let's. I don't recommend it. You give it a mild recommendation or a
Yeah,
recommendation.
and my daughter gives it a glowing recommendation.
All right. Well, there you go.